Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be about harvesting potatoes. I'll go over some details for you about what variety we planted, how we harvest them, cure them, and store them over the winter, and also how we save some of them to plant as seed potatoes next year. So stay tuned. The varieties that we planted this year are the Gold Rush Russet potato and actually the Norkotah Russet potato that we saved from last year. Last year we had a great harvest for our Kennebec White. They actually did pretty well, but they do not store well. So we went with just Russets this year. This year, one of the major things that we did different was we got row covers. Last year we had flea beetle issue, and it was just a never-ending battle. Diatomaceous earth does help. It does help, but it definitely does not rid the problem. Row covers this year were just, it was night and day. They made so much of a difference. We did not have any issues until we took the row covers off. But the potato plants were hitting the top of the row cover and they were just staying too wet. So we took them off and allowed them to dry out and everything was fine. And then the flea beetles hit. And so we did have a little bit of issue of that. And I did use diatomaceous earth again, but it was nothing like before. So if anyone's considering row covers, I highly suggest you giving it a shot. It is worth the money, which honestly, it wasn't much money. So the other thing I wanted to say is that even though our potatoes looked beautiful, they don't now. And that is because they are ready to harvest. So usually your potatoes are ready to harvest when the plant is either completely died back or most of it's all yellowed and browned, and they are, the majority of them that you planted have died back. And that means that those tubers have gotten big and full and they are ready to be harvested. So I'm going to get to harvesting now. Don't mind any weeds. And if I start dancing, that's because we have fire ants. If anyone knows any great organic ways to get rid of fire ants, please let me know in the comments, because I've tried everything under the sun. I've tried the boiling water, I've tried the soap, and just everything that you could think of I have tried, and I've learned to just try and live with them and avoid them, and hopefully they avoid me. But nevertheless, if you see me dancing, that's why. So I'm gonna get to harvesting. Holy moly. Now that is a big potato. Now we're getting somewhere. Some good ones. Dude. Some of these are huge. Potatoes will tell you when they're ready to be harvested. They will turn yellow, they will turn brown, they will die, and then you know that they're storing all their energy into their tubers and you can get ready to dig them up. So one thing to consider though is that you want the soil to be dry. It doesn't have to be bone dry, but you don't want it to be wet. Otherwise, the soil is going to stick to the potato skin and it's going to hinder their curing. It's going to induce rot, and they just won't store well at the end of the day. But also, it makes it a lot easier to dig up potatoes when the soil is drier, because I'll tell you what, the few that were in wet soil were a lot harder to dig up. See? Some of them are really nice size. That's a perfect baked potato right there.
So I've seen some people talk about whether or not you should actually wash the potatoes. I know that we don't. What's your opinion on whether or not you should wash your potatoes before you cure them?
I have never had good luck washing potatoes and then trying to store them. It just doesn't work. I wait until right before I use them and wash them. I think that if you brush off the majority of the dirt, then when you go to cure them, it helps them thicken up their skin and they store much better for long-term use.
Now, I know this year we're curing the garlic in the barn. We've talked about potentially curing the potatoes in the barn as well as the onions, but I think it's a little too hot out to cure the potatoes up in our barn. So I know we're not quite done our storage room down cellar. I'm working on getting some air conditioning ported over to that room. Are you considering where you want to store these potatoes when you get it all pulled up?
I'd like to cure them in that bathroom downstairs because there's an AC vent, so if we shut the door, it'll be nice and cold for them.
Yeah, we don't use that bathroom either, so.
Exactly, so we can keep the door shut and have the AC vent in there. I think that's a good option.
Yeah, because it'll probably be kept around 70 degrees, nice and cool and dry.
For the south.
Yeah. Unlike today, it is so hot and humid, and tomorrow is going to be even hotter and more humid.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Last night we ran out of time. Well, we ran out of daylight, and so I'm here this morning, the next day, and I'm gonna harvest the other side of this row, which is the Gold Rush potato. We did get 2 of these crates full of the Norkotah Russet, so pretty good harvest so far. I'm gonna see what we get from these Gold Rush Russet. This guy looks like he wants to fight. I don't know what to do with him. I'm just gonna try and move them to a different plant so that I can continue harvesting. It's extremely hot, about 100 degrees and 80% humidity, so I'd like to get this done. Would you mind, sir, moving along, please? So this is what I have so far. I'm about halfway through the row, but I just stopped for a minute because of the praying mantis. I'm gonna see which way he goes. I've been stumbling upon these guys very often lately, and I don't know, they look like fighters, so I don't really like to mess with them. Where'd he go? So this praying mantis is jumping from one plant to the next, staring me down, and I really think he just wants to fight. So I am still getting a lot of big ones off these, but I am noticing that I probably could have waited a little while longer for these Gold Rush Russet. There are a lot of babies that maybe if I had been able to wait longer, they would have developed into bigger ones like this. But because we were starting to get a lot of pest pressure and the climate was just, it rained for a whole entire week. So I was ready to get them out before they started rotting. Up north, you're going to want to get the potatoes out of the ground and harvested before any freeze, but usually you can leave them in the ground a lot longer than down here. But I'm still getting an excellent harvest. I just think a lot of these probably could have gone another 2 or 3 weeks and I would have gotten some bigger potatoes. There are some massive ones. I think this is the biggest one. We got 2 crates of this Gold Rush Russet, and then we also had gotten 2 crates last night of the Norkotah Russet. So I'm very happy with this harvest, especially considering that I did not water, I did not fertilize. The only thing I really did was go through and hill everything to make sure that none of them were exposed to the sun. And then we did use the row covers, which I believe helped a lot, as I had said. So I'm very satisfied with what we have here, and I think it will last us a while, but I am considering a fall crop. If you plant a fall crop, you just need to make sure that you have about 80 to 100 days before your last frost. Depending on which variety you plant, it'll give you an average time till harvest, but usually it's about 80 to 100 days. So down here in the south with a more mild climate, we can plant again and then have a winter harvest. So, but you do want to get those potatoes out of the ground before that first frost, so keep that in mind. I think that's it for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed watching and maybe even learned something. We enjoy making these videos and learning along with you.
If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Bye, we'll see you next time.